I decided to make a little power amp for my radios. This is the one I'm trying to build, which is from the classic Experimental Methods book. I wanted something that wasn't just a crappy LM386 with noise, so I'm using the 5532 output op amp, 2 stages here and then the 3 transistors. So we'll see how it goes. Sometimes when I'm using the powered speaker it's a bit awkward, and since the box for this radio is going to end up being quite large, I thought maybe I'd put a speaker in it. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. It's just an interesting little diversion for Saturday morning. I've already started. I've got my pads on there and the semiconductors. I'm just fitting the rest of the components and we'll see how it sounds. Haven't left myself much room for these resistors at the output, but I'll put them on first. I didn't realise how large the output caps were, so they're all going to have to squeeze in there a little, but we'll figure it out. I'll probably speed up this part of the video and turn down the noise because you don't want to listen to my extractor fan here. Bit of fuel, Yorkshire tea. Right, here we are after about 90 minutes. Just tied it up a bit so I can see what I'm doing. We've got this amplifier here. I've connected one of these bulkhead, and you can see that on the camera good. I'm sick of the tiny little 3.5mm jacks. Every time I seem to mount one on the panel they're really flimsy and crappy, so I'm going to use one of these more robust phonos. I like that they have a switch in so that I can switch between speaker and line, which might be useful later because I do think I might want to put a line out. But yes, I've just got this plugged into my little desktop speaker, not an active one. I'm just going to wire up some power somewhere. I need to make up some more power connectors, but in the meantime we will take it from the receiver. I don't want to introduce any interesting ground loops, but let's just see if that is sufficient. Obviously all the rewiring will be done once I put it in its box, so a lot of these wires are temporary. So then I could do with a clean. Yeah, so I used Manhattan, and this time around I kind of tried to build some of it out first and then add components later, but I seem to be a bit cramped. I don't know, it's not my best build, but it looks sufficient and everything's reasonably tidy. I've probably made a mistake somewhere, I missed something, but let's find out. Right. Obviously there's no need for the rest of the radio to be all hooked up here just yet, but what the heck, let's do it. I think we'll just turn it on, see if anything catches fire, and see if I can get some noise from my finger into the amp here. I don't know if you can hear that, but that sounds very promising. If I touch it with something metal. That sounds like a pretty good amplifier to me. I should find a better stereo source to test it with, but let's just hook it up into the radio and see what happens. To this board over here near the output of the audio. So this connection here is after the op amp. There's a filter, there's a two-stage op amp with a mute for the Morse key, and then I was feeding that into the active speaker. But now I'm going to try the radio on. The other thing I should mention is that the solar storms at the moment are, well, they've abided, but the band conditions are still pretty awful. So I'm not sure what we'll hear at midday on a Saturday, but let's see. And oscillation, which is, everybody knows, is the first thing you build when you build an amplifier. Interesting. I'm just hacking basically now, just to test things. We'll figure out how to fix that oscillation. It might just be that I need to do better wiring. I do have a colour scheme. I tend to use yellow for signals, red and black obviously for power. Blues are typically keying logic, like the Morse key. Hopefully you can hear that. I took a little break. I had to go out for lunch, and I came back and I've removed the CW filter just for the meantime to try and clean things up. I tidied up the wiring a bit, twisted some cables. I added a couple of more decoupling caps to get rid of the oscillation that you were hearing, and I added a potentiometer so I could vary the volume. And as you can hear, it's working great. It's maybe a little quiet, which I'll have to think about, but it's probably okay for field use. We'll see. We'll see when I get the whole thing together, how loud it is. I'm still going to have the option to use the powered external speaker, but yeah, quite pleased with that. I've also wired up an attenuated sine wave from my speaker system, so from my function generator, so you can hear it there. I can go in and change the frequency. It sounds really clean actually. It's no noticeable distortion there, so I'm just really waiting for the band to open up so I can try listening with decent signals. It's very poor at the moment. We'll see maybe later on this evening or tomorrow the conditions will improve. But yeah, a little I think it's 40 odd dB amplifier from Experimental Methods there. It's a 2-op amp stage and a push-pull transistor stage, and it works really well. And with the 5532, it's a much nicer sounding without the noise that you'd get from an LM386. Obviously, it was quite a bit more work. I'm trying to think. I don't think there was anything else that I noticed that was majorly wrong. Oh yes, I had one of the caps the wrong way around in the push-pull. I don't know how much of a difference it made, but I fixed that. Also, they specify 10,000 microfarads for power decoupling, and I only had 1,000, so that may have been part of the reason for the oscillation. But I've put 2 or 3 in here, and we'll see how that goes. I've ordered some 10,000 microfarad caps because I don't have any, and maybe that'll just neaten up the board a little bit. But there we go, a nice little amplifier to go in the radio. And that's all for today.